ReefBum is sponsored by Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So in this video I want to talk about the Cryptic Sump that I set up for my 187 gallon tank. But before I do that, if you want to help support the channel and pick up some SPS frags, you can do so at reefbum.com. Now let's get into the video. So it's been about 4 months since I've completed the major transformation of this 187 gallon display tank behind me. And I wanted to talk about my observations since I made those major changes. The goal was to maintain the microbiome of this tank, to keep the bacteria population intact. And so what I had done was, it was a mature reef tank. I had a lot of corals that had grown in, especially the acropora, and it just became choked out. It was starting to cause issues. So I made the big decision, even though it was a thriving reef tank, I made the decision to do a big reboot. So what I did was I pulled out the 120 pounds or so of the Haitian live rock in the tank. The live rock was pretty well encrusted with corals on it. And I also took out the coral colonies, fragged up what I could, kept some of the bigger chunks in my frag tanks in the side room. So simultaneously what I had done was I had set up a Rubbermaid, 100-gallon Rubbermaid tub, and I had some Carib Sea live rock, about 100 pounds of that, in that large Rubbermaid tub, and I had done pretty much religiously weekly water changes, about 10% weekly water changes with established system tank water. I was also dosing bacteria on a daily basis. So I was cooking that live rock for a long time while I was slowly tearing down the display tank in terms of the corals. But once I'd made that transformation in terms of pulling out the live rock, I had previously plumbed in a Cryptic Sump, a 60-gallon Cryptic Sump to the system, and that certainly was a complicated process because my Royal Exclusiv Dreambox was really not set up to take on an additional remote sump, but I was able to get that plumbed in to the Dreambox. So yeah, I was definitely concerned. I have a lot of corals in this system, and I didn't want to lose them. But you know, in the 4 months since, things look great. The corals in my frag tanks, in terms of the colonies that I had in those frag tanks, and the big chunks that I pulled out of the 187-gallon display tank, are doing fantastic. Really no losses. The only coral that got sort of pissed off was my Tyree Icefire Echinata, but it seems to have stabilized, and I think it's going to be fine. But really no major losses at all. So, you know, the question that I had initially, was adding a Cryptic Sump going to be a good idea? Was that worth my time? Was that going to be effective? And just in theory, I thought it would be great to take the established Haitian live rock from that display tank, and once I pull it out of the display tank, put it in that Cryptic Sump. So to really keep the bacteria population on that Haitian live rock within the system, and then also add in the Carib Sea life rock that I had been cooking in my Rubbermaid tub to the display tank. So essentially a swap, pulling out the Carib Sea life rock from the Rubbermaid tub, putting it in the display tank, and then taking the Haitian live rock from the display tank and putting it into the Cryptic Sump. So what have I observed since in terms of that Cryptic Sump? Man, I'll tell you, there are a ton of sponges growing in that Cryptic Sump. I mean, just really a lot more than what I noticed before in terms of what was on that Haitian live rock. There's a lot growing on the sides of the Cryptic Sump. I also noticed some long, tubular, very skinny organisms that might be feather dusters. I didn't see any feather dusters poking out at the ends when I had the lid of the Cryptic Sump off, but there's just like a lot of critters in this Cryptic Sump. So again, from a purely observational point of view, to me, having all the sponges and all the microfauna, microorganisms in that Cryptic Sump, and the fact that all my corals, you know, not only in the frag tanks that I had pulled from the display tank, but, you know, other colonies I had in there before I made the swap. And also the frags that I have in the 187-gallon display tank now that I planted on the Carib Sea life rock. Everything is doing great. I mean, everything is doing great. I got like a little cyano in there. I don't care about that stuff. Everything is healthy. I've got some great polyp extension now on the 187-gallon tank now that I've gotten rid of the captive bred regal angelfish, which really bummed me out. But all of a sudden the polyp extension is super. So based on what I could see, the whole big transformation was a success incorporating the Cryptic Sump. But I wanted to validate it with data, and I ended up ordering some AquaBiomics tests. I tested the microbiome before I did anything with this tank in terms of tearing it down. Then I did another test on the Rubbermaid tub, and the third test was a post-test after the transformation was complete. And what I saw from the data was that yes, the microbiome was certainly kept intact, but also improved in terms of its diversity, the balance of bacteria, and the community composition. So to me, that really does help to validate my decision to take the steps that I took. And you know, I took my time on this thing. It was like a 6 to 9 month process. So it took a long time. And I always say that nothing good happens quickly in reef keeping. And so I felt like it was worthwhile to just not rush through this whole thing. So overall, I think a Cryptic Sump is a great idea. It worked out perfectly for me in this case. And I think it's also a great idea to have a Cryptic Sump. Consider one for a new system. Why not? Why not plumb in a Cryptic Sump to a brand new reef tank? If you want to start off with dry rock on the display tank, plumb in that Cryptic Sump, add a whole bunch of live rock, and you have some instant biodiversity to that tank. So I don't see the harm of that at all. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Until next time, be safe and be well. Later.
We'll be right back.